What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Raw watch party. Yeah, before we get to it, you guys need to make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. So, give you guys a quick little heads up. Obviously, Tyler is not going to be part of me, joining me so far this part. I can't say this week. Um, but Tyler right now is kind of still building with a cold that he caught about a week and a half ago. Still getting over through that. Obviously, with the coughing fit. So far this week, you're probably going to see mostly me for the rest of this week, depending on how Tyler feels going into tomorrow. I'll talk to him about that. But yeah, and Pokemon Expert, honestly, it's pretty much the roster updates. That's kind of what 2K is at this point. Am I excited for it? Sure, but the other game that I'm excited for, is, I know it's kind of wrestling related, but the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection that's going to be dropping March 17th. So, like I said, if you guys haven't checked out the community tab that I posted about it, I think about a couple of days ago, that I did pre-order it. So you're probably going to see a lot of Star Wars Battlefront, not the crappy reboot that EA put out, but the OG, the OG games. For those who remember from 2004 to 2005, so you're going to see a lot, and obviously you're going to see a lot of gameplay, whether it's from Galactic Conquest, by the way, which is my favorite game modes. So I mean, I'm excited to see what we've got going on when that drops and on the 17th. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And the thing is too, with the fallout of the Elimination Chamber, and I'm going to give it before, because I know we're still kind of go through some bits and pieces of highlights from the show itself. Shout out to my boy, and also fellow new member of the Sports Wave Network, Ghoulie. Shout out to him who actually literally had to get up at 5 a.m. just to do the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So shout out to him for that, because none of us human beings would ever, I would say, well, not say ever, but really never really would get up at 5 in the morning. Well, unless it's me going to get ready for work, but that's a whole, but besides the point. But yeah, but so far it's going to be interesting to see what this Raw is going to be looking like. And I'll say this too, for someone who's watched the replay of the Elimination Chamber, it was predictable as hell. I think that's kind of one of the biggest things that I think a lot of wrestling fans nowadays kind of really do hate. I'm in that group, whereas I hate predictable shit. Now, yes, it's going to happen, but to have an entire pay-per-view or a premium live, as they will call it nowadays, to be very predictable as it was, I didn't like that. Now, granted, the show was pretty good. I'll give the Elimination Chamber that. Even I did post this on my Twitter account that I give this year's Elimination Chamber a slight edge over Super Showdown 2018, the last time that the WWE had a PLE down in Australia. Well, it looks like we were kicking. Okay, so we're kicking off with Dom getting booed as usual. So that's me a lot of fun. Obviously, with WrestleMania being near my neck of the woods, and yes, granted, yes, I live in South Jersey. Definitely And yeah, for those who are wondering what I'm for snacking tonight, good old M&M's, the original. Man, the peanut ones are good too. But here comes Rhea. Which, by the way, for those who haven't seen the clip going around, kind of awesome to see. Well, see Rhea doing some really good work overall. Well, it was pretty nice to see her share that moment with her family down in Perth. So, And yeah, so far, and according to the advertiser, Rhea Ripley was nominated for this 2024 South Australian Woman of the Year. Awesome for her, because I remember, I think, was it back in 2017 or 2018? It was during the Mae Young Classic, because it's like, it's like, and boy, that was no, it was not a bad time. It's just it was a really weird part. It's just where the WWE was at the time. Um, but just seeing someone like Rhea coming in, long blonde hair, happy-go-lucky, white hot baby face, that sort of thing. And I talked to me and Tara. I think we talked about this. We discussed it, I mean, like bits and pieces, but it's just for someone like Rhea, what she's doing it now is fantastic and good shit. Like I said, I haven't really been to, but I am. Like I said, and I actually want to make this announcement too while we get a chance. So Thursday, or I think Thursday, March 22nd, there is going to be no streams on that day, because I am going to be going to a TV taping for TNA down in Philly at the 2300 Arena. So that's going to be a lot of fun. First time going to a TNA event. It's been a long, and first time in, I would say, what? Well, almost a decade, give or take. But yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun, because the reason why I had a couple opportunities. I was the last couple years going, what could have went into an AEW event twice, but at the time I was either in school and or working. So, and now we're here. Looks like we did a little bit of a preview from one of the nights down at WrestleMania in Philadelphia at the Link. And you got Becky Lynch making her way out. That'd be a lot of fun. So, like I say, you're probably going to see me for the last remainder. Hopefully, remember, not try to be for this entire week. Like I said, tomorrow or later on tonight, I'll try to talk to Tyler. See how he's feeling for the next remainder of the week. Because if not, you're probably going to see me do the Retro Watch Party, which you probably see normally me and Tyler do almost on every weekly basis. But if Tyler's not really feeling well, you're probably going to see me do that on Wednesday. That remains up in the air. Might do a couple NBA games depending on if I'm feeling up for it. Like I said, obviously you guys saw the streaming schedule that I put out about 6 days ago. That was kind of going up for this week. So, so it's going to be very, but we'll see. Obviously, in Bailey's neck of the woods, so to speak. Yeah. Even though, let's be real, Becky technically trying to pretty much stole the show at the Elimination Chamber, mostly for the women's side. And it's crazy. Hold up. And also had her family in the front row, too, which was pretty cool to see. There you go. What's going on, Steve? Okay, Becky. And it's kind of funny. There you go, San Jose. Boo his ass. Boo this man. Sorry. Gotta love it. And here's a funny thing too that I've noticed too. I think we're about 48 hours from coming off the Elimination Chamber this past Saturday night or Saturday morning for those who watched it. I'll say this too: that I will never understand the hate for Becky Lynch is very fucking corny. I will say that. Like I said, we're also coming to you live on also my Twitter account and also Tyler's. That check the link tree, the description of the link tree down below, and give. So obviously, you'll probably and you'll see probably other updates me and Tyler will post on our Twitters, or me kind of get my thoughts on a lot of things. That's not political and or religious. Just going to make that very clear. Now it makes me. It's another thing too. Like I said too, with the hate for Becky, which is so fucking corny, by the way, which I will never understand. I think a lot of most wrestling fans who hate Becky need to realize outside of Becky, who I would say would consider is probably when you look at Raw's women's division, she's the only one I can see that's on Rhea's level. But Nia, I don't think she's there yet. Even though let's be real, I thought that main event match was actually pretty good in terms from not from Rhea, even though let's be real, Rhea always puts on pretty good match. Well, even though mostly dominant squash matches. But from Nia's perspective, from my thing on Nia, even though for those who remember, her first go around as a walking hazard, she actually, and obviously you can tell she's got better in the ring. And the promo as well, but we'll have to wait and see how far along she's going with that. But like I was saying, with Becky, though, which I will never understand for that matter, is always on top. Yeah, we goddamn get it. You get a lot of your single men and women actually get all riled up, so to speak. But so 40 days away from WrestleMania 40. And funny enough, which I was gonna point it out too. I was originally planning to go, but when I saw the ticket prices, I nah. I'd rather watch this from the comforts of my own home. Despite the fact, I live 5 minutes outside of Philadelphia. But and then again, Jack's blasting Becky Lynch from behind and already having a really post-promo beatdown. An easy leg drop right across the sternum. Yeah. And another leg drop. Kind of making a statement to Rhea. Because obviously, and another fun fact nugget. While we're going to get a bonsai drop. Little paid homage to the late great. Nope. Now I got the officials coming out, and with Adam Pearce, tell her to get down. But I will say this too, though, since Nia Jax coming back, a lot of myself included had very mixed reactions because it's like, why bring somebody back that was too goddamn green? And obviously, really would put most of your women's roster in harm's way. Obviously, being an on-state worker, I think we all knew that. But I'm thinking, as much as I know that really rubs people the wrong way for the right reasons. Sure, don't get me wrong. Now, because also in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, it's like, okay, what's the test going to be for her? Like, is she going to really, show that she actually improved her in-ring skills, or is just going to be the same old Nia that we saw back in, what was it, 2017 or 2018, maybe 2019? I can't remember. But so now we're going to see you got Sami Zayn getting ready for some in-ring competition. And yes, for those who are wondering, yeah, you're not going to see a lot of NXT coverage sporadically, because I pushed this. I've talked about this too. I don't think I've really talked much in depth on it. NXT for me, I don't know. Like, I enjoy watching it, but try to stream it on a weekly basis, hardly get anybody's attention for it. It really kind of got, and I think I said this, but I think I could have mentioned this about a few weeks ago, or the last time I did an NXT stream. But coming up next, we got Sami Zayn and Shinsuke going at it one-on-one. And it's kind of funny that I've noticed that Shinsuke is getting a lot of people hate Shinsuke for all the stupidest reasons. That's besides the point. Now, my point was, going back to what I said about not doing NXT on a weekly basis. Number one, it doesn't really draw an amount of people. Well, at the same time, here in the YouTube space, in terms of the wrestling content, especially in terms of the content creators, I'm going up against multiple competitions, so that plays a part of it. But at the same point, it's just, does anybody really care for NXT? To be honest, no. By the way, now, like I said, I graded for those who actually do show up or do tune in, for that matter. I'm grateful for that. But knowing that it doesn't really get over with a lot of, especially with a lot of wrestling fans nowadays, because, and, I mean, a lot of people go back to the black and gold days. Yeah, don't get me wrong, that's probably the best time for NXT. And yes, and I also agree. I think a lot of people don't, and rightly so, forget that NXT at one point would turn into that, what later became what NXT was in, obviously in 2012, as a reality show for whatever fucking reason. Don't know how that really was possible, but I will say that version of NXT did really get some really interesting rookies. And yeah, at the time, yeah, they were still doing rookies and mentors, that sort of thing. In the early days of NXT. Now it's I don't know, it's really hard to explain. If I put this into like sports terms, it doesn't draw a big crowd, and or gets new eyes on the product. And that kind of got me thinking. It's like, does anybody even care if I even cover it? Because, it's just and like I said, I appreciate the the same viewers that come in, but in terms of new viewership, not so much, because it's like, as much as I do my best at the same time too, like doing most of the stuff solo, it's not an easy thing. Because usually you see me, Tyler, do it most 100% of the time. But knowing Tyler was still a little bit under the weather this past week, which is understandable, because trust me, I know that for full on pretty well. Because obviously for me, who I've actually been on the weather for about 2 weeks. Because I know you saw one show that we did about, like, I would say about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I think it was the All Star Sports Show. I'll say this much: I was still dealing with the later stages of bronchitis at that point. Was still dealing with the coughing aspect of it, which obviously Tyler's dealing with that. Obviously, he told me he doesn't have bronchitis, which is great, because let's be real, that shit fucking lingers for 2 goddamn weeks. And yeah, that shit sucked. I will tell you that much. And I constantly kept you guys updated and stuff like that on the community tab and whatnot, and try to push through it. But unfortunately, that was kind of fucking stupid on my part. But yeah, maybe that's just what I had to go through then, especially in terms of being under the weather. And so far, not a bad start to Raw. I will say that much. And I've always said, Raw has to be, I hope at some point, TKO or whoever they got to trim this show to 2 hours on a weekly basis, because you can get a lot, like I said, get a lot of stuff done in 2 hours. SmackDown has done some pretty good work as of recently, which is, and now I know that we turned into the last episode of SmackDown because that was pre-recorded or pre-taped for the Elimination Chamber this past Saturday morning, or Saturday night for those who are Australian viewers. You know, good crowd response. I will say that to the Aussie viewers. Because because it got me thinking with the when they announced the Elimination Chamber was going to be in Perth, Australia, and it kind of got me thinking: can this show be as much better as what they tried to do with Super Showdown 2018? And a lot of fans know, for those who've seen the show, how bad that pay-per-view really was. But I thought actually it was a really good show. Was it great? Not exactly. Because like I said, that shit was fucking predictable. For those who watched me and Gooley doing picks and predictions, nobody fucking lost, because let's be real, it was predictable as shit. And going back to my thing on that too, like I said earlier in the stream, I hate predictable shit. Like, try something new for a change. Like, try to be unpredictable. Well, you. You're gonna do it, expect to do it to live, yada yada yada. Well, that's later coming on tonight. Liv Morgan and Nia Jax going at it 1-on-1. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, so should be gonna be interesting though. I don't know. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And quite honest, and that's another thing too. Quite honestly, I think he should have taken the belt off of Seth on the multiple chances that he was giving him, and they never did it. And this was what, like the second match between the two. Well, probably gets you thinking a lot, because I mean, just because it's like, and that was a very good question by Michael Cole too. It's like, I mean, what does that really do to you mentally, especially from a wrestling standpoint? For me, I mean, if I want to put myself in Sammy's shoes, I'll probably be slightly upset at the same time, but it kind of gets me wondering, like, what do I have to do, to show him when I'm capable can wrestle, or I say work, probably one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, which is WrestleMania. Obviously, it looks like Sammy is still gripping the ribs. Now he eats a boot to the midsection. Nice Irish whip. No, nice counter. And oh, that's not a pretty moonsault from Sammy, because obviously I think those ribs are still kind of bothering him at the moment while we cut the commercial. But yeah, it really does kind of get one to think. It does one, like I said, yeah, it does get you. Really does mentally screw with you because it's like, let's just say hypothetically, and because not say hypothetically, but I talked to us about this a ton. And for those who has been around this channel for a good chunk of time, and it seems like the last couple multiple it's running podcast episodes that we've done, how I stand on the positive side of Drew McIntyre because let's be real, the dude, because I'm one of those people that I want to see him actually finally get another chance to be a world champion because, and as I pointed out the last few episodes, is the fact that I think after 2020 he really never really could recover from that. Granted, I mean, the one thing I'll give tremendous credit for was carrying this company through the pandemic era. Yes, and you also had a scumbag of a human being that was still as the boss at the time, and V and Vince McMahon. We all know how that's been going on the last multiple months, maybe and multiple weeks over the span of that. But outside of that, it's like it doesn't really make sense. The fact that Drew kind of really just, I would say, figuratively got screwed in a sense. Like don't get me wrong, the dude puts on banger matches. Had probably the best triple threat match that I've seen in I would say the past couple of years. I would say in terms of all, especially Clash of the Castle back, I think last year in September, I think it was. Someone got to correct me if I'm wrong because I'm really blanking. Besides that, with him, Gunther and Sheamus, for the IC Intercontinental Championship, that was phenomenal. And ever since then, you see Drew kind of start losing these big title matches that he's been in. 7 of them, for those who are wondering that that we're counting over the span, obviously probably the last year and a half or so with Drew. And it got to the point where like he decided, nah, fuck it. I'm not gonna show up. Because he didn't, and you really can't blame the dude. I mean, the dude's creative direction was fucking hot garbage or complete trash for what it was. And yeah, and that got a lot of everybody talking, like, what the fuck's going on? What's next with Drew? And myself included, who dropped a video about that. Because there was a lot of reports like, could Drew be done with WWE and shit like that? Something had to be talked about. Now, it is still an interesting thought to have this, bring up this conversation. Is WWE going to try their best, try to give Drew a contract extension? And hold up, because I'm starting to lose my train of thought a little bit. But let's say hypothetically, if Drew does lose at WrestleMania, that's going to be probably the straw that breaks the camel's back, so to speak, with him. And I don't think he's going to resign after that because this dude has pretty much busted his ass night in and night out for this company. Even throughout 2020, obviously post 2020, or obviously the post pandemic era, I think is the best way to say it. This company hasn't really done much for him, and it's going to be the same situation. Not say the same situation, but when you look at the terms of kind of how when Dolph Ziggler went out, I'm not going to say Drew's going to be a job or anything, but just the fact that Drew just gives and gives and gives. What the company ever has done the company has not done nothing for that. And on the case like Dolph Ziggler, who's been, congrats to him finding some actually gold elsewhere, which I know that's going to rub. I know, and I've seen it rub people the wrong way. Pretty much say, WWE could have done a better job with him in his later stages before he got released. And I do share that kind of sentiment to an extent. But knowing that where Dolph was in his career, I mean, it's kind of crazy too. The fact that dude's been there for over 2 decades. And yes, for those who remember, not just from the Spirit Squad, I know that's what a lot of people remember him from, but I think a lot of people tend to forget he also got his slight start with Chavo as his caddy when Chavo was Kerwin White. Anybody? Oh, nice little Michinoku driver cover 1, 2, and no. So nice little kick out at 2 by Nakamura. But that's kind of my thoughts on a lot of things, especially the last year and a half or so, which has been there were some positives, some negatives, and just downright what the fuck moments, basically. And case in point with a couple of shoulder tackles right in the corner, and especially with WWE under new ownership, which whoever thought that would have been. A lot of people will think that, oh, nice tornado DDT off the second rope. And Shinsuke, why as he rolls out, but it looks like Sammy's going to fly. Still grasping at his ribs. That's going to hurt. Oh, and it gets tripped up by Shinsuke. But I mean, it's gonna. Looks like we're going suit. No. Oh God, face first, right into the ring apron. Goes Sami Zayn. And I cut. And that's another thing too. Limit the commercial breaks or the timing. I would say, these ad breaks for those who do want to watch. But I will say this too, though. Like I said, with going back to my thing with, and it's actually great to see some of the NXT call-ups actually doing pretty well. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to see like an early push and whatnot, but it's just got to take some time with them, because my original thought was, because this is before Vince actually resigned for the second time. Because knowing that there was reports saying, that Stephanie Stratton was going to get her main roster call-ups, I was like, oh boy. Not because I don't like Elizabeth Tiffany Stratton. In my short time watching NXT, she can go with the best of the best. Where my problem was running into is like, how is she going to do on the main roster if Vince was still there? Stuff like that. But now you don't really have to really worry as much. Now you have Braun Breaker now up on the main roster, which, good Lord, how many times we've been waiting for him to actually have an actual stay on the main roster. It's good. It's been a while. I think another guy that I think it definitely deserves another stay on the main roster, and that is Carmelo Hayes. Now, I know Carmelo Hayes is doing his, I think he's still right now got a few going down at NXT. With Ilya Dragunov, I think they're going to from my understanding, they're revisiting that, which, by the way, the dude it was good, but I think this go around, it's going to be a lot better than what they had the first time around, the first series of matches. With Ilya kind of being right now taking his Mad Dragon gimmick to, I'll say, probably the second or third gear, if you really think about it. And obviously Mello being finally having that heel turn. Even though it was weird at first, not say it was weird, but it's just something that look, we all knew Carmelo Hayes was going to get over, but him as a face just never seemed to work. I mean, it did for a while before it kind of ran its course. And I'm kind of intrigued to see what direction they're going to go in with Carmelo as a heel. I mean, so far, it seems before, and the last episode I've done was the fact that he's kind of going after Ilya, which, I mean, especially with this new look, Ilya and Carmelo Hayes the second time around, I got no issues with that. Now, that being said, I'm still going to watch NXT regardless. I'm not going to stream it on a weekly basis. And honestly, and yes, I'm not going to stream also, for those who are wondering. Yeah, and that includes the pay-per-views too that NXT puts on. With Stand and Deliver, Vengeance Day, I think No Mercy that they got brought back. There's probably another one I'm probably missing that is on the top of my head at the moment, but nice sold out crowd in San Jose with now Shinsuke now on the defensive. Oh, so kind of a little roundhouse kick into an instant curry. Kind of just drops Sami Zayn to the mat. And looks like time for the Kinshasa. And pretty much the killing blow. And nope. Into a blue thunder bomb. 1, 2, no. Just a kick out of 2 from Shinsuke. But yeah, so you're looking through Thunder Bomb. And it looks like Sammy's going for his killing blow, which is the Haluva kick. And needs some leaping knee and got dropped like a sack of potatoes from Shinsuke Nakamura into a double knees to the back of the neck. Covered by Nakamura. 1, 2, and no. Just got the arm, got the shoulder off the mat for a 2. And now it looks like Sam's kind of on noodle legs. Well, it's wolf. Looks like we're going. Looks like Shinsuke's got a plan here. We got Sammy draped over the barricade. And the knee to the neck. Jesus. Well, that's pretty much going to put a rain on things. It looks. Try to win by count. Try to go with the cheap way out. Try to win by count. Oh God! Drops Sammy. Cover 1, 2, and no. Gets the foot of the rope. Great ring awareness from Shinsuke. Like now a couple stomps. And that's kind of Sammy right now. Just not giving up. And Shinsuke is looking to end this once and for all. Time for the Kinshasa, which is basically, in other words, the shining his different variation of the Shining Wizard. No, and a Haluva kick to the back of the head. It drops Shinsuke, and Sammy kind of get some momentum going. Got to feed off the crowd's energy. Is going for a second Haluva kick. And connects. Drops him. Cover 1, 2, 3. And Sami Zayn picks up the win. Hey, good match though. Like I said, I can't really complain. I mean, you got 2 good competitors and 2 Haluva kicks that are. But now, it kind of gets you wondering, like, what is next for Shinsuke? What? All right. Yeah. I know I've seen a lot of people too over social media too, and we're not kind of not really liking what this matchup. I think, which I think is coming up next, or probably the match afterwards. Oh, showing a shotgun drop kick to. Oh, yeah. Which I do really like this rivalry, though. Don't get me wrong, because I think I dropped a video. I think it was about a year ago or so, probably a year, almost 2 years ago, give or take. Because, and that's my thing is because I think that this was still the time where Imperium just had no creative direction whatsoever, constantly losing matches, despite the fact one of the most decorated teams in NXT. Um, and yeah, it's just so far it hasn't really been that bad in terms of the main roster, especially now. I would say Vinci, on the other hand, has I don't know. Vinci's in one of these weird spots. It's like, what are you doing with him? Now, yes, he's been, dealing with at the point, the injury bug. But just and Ludwig Kaiser has put on some pretty good matches out of his own right, and some of the solo matches he's done, which that's not really. Look, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it kind of led a lot of people to believe, really to believe. Before I apologize for if I had a brain fart there. Like I was saying, to believe that, or we're leading to the belief that we're going to see Imperium split because obviously right now the only one that actually has true main roster success, and that is Gunther, the current and reigning Intercontinental Champion on the main roster. No, you got Miss Karen herself, Chelsea Green. I think this match is going to be meh. So Raquel Rodriguez and Chelsea Green going at it 1-on-1. Coming up next here on Monday Night Raw. Just give me. But hey, so far, I like I say, I really can't complain what I've seen. Now, Raw, like I said, we haven't really done Raw. Well, been really on the ball with it, I would say. And yes, for those who are wondering, yeah, we were supposed to do the astronomy yesterday. Unfortunately, Tyler, like I said, with Tyler being under the weather, and I know Tyler, and I talked to Tyler too, and he knows he hates this. He hates having to take the time off, because I know a lot of y'all like seeing me Tyler, and are with our humor and shit like that. So like I said, we greatly appreciate that. But Tyler's one of those people, and I really and I feel for him, dude. I really do. You really hate to not try to get the impression like people are thinking you're ducking and shit like that because that's kind of like the new term nowadays because a lot of people say you're just not want to do it because you're ducking shit like that. But Tyler's not the kind of guy that ducks from a lot of things, and Tyler, and he even knows like this cough that he's been kind of been dealing with, especially in terms of getting over this cold, it has been kind of been very irritating him, and so that's for those who are wondering, for those who are coming from the YouTube, Twitch, or watching us on Twitter, for that matter. Why you see, I'm not going to see. I'm probably not going to see Tyler. Hopefully, you probably see him tomorrow. Like I said, I'll talk to him tomorrow and see where he's at because if he's not if he's still dealing with this coughing fits, you're probably just going to see me hope probably for the majority of this week. So like I said, I'll keep you guys updated as best I can. But like I said, with the Elimination Chamber, I'm going to go back to that on a little bit too. The Elimination Chamber, like I said, when I watched the replay, it was good, but it wasn't great. It was just kind of, how do I explain this? It wasn't like, it was not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's still, and obviously I know a lot of people couldn't see that, especially for those who had, especially with the start time, 5 a.m. here on the East, 2 a.m. on the Pacific. But when you do go back at it, and for those who do have rewatched it, you could tell that entire show that's just, it screams predictability. And I've said on my Twitter that a couple things about it was the fact that one thing I kind of was thinking at the back of my head, it's like this entire match concept was kind of lost its luster, obviously, the past 5 years or so, because since being introduced in 2002, it kind of just, and yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to get people saying, it's got a little bit watered down because, obviously with PG, because for those who remember the original match, some of the matches that we've seen, it was just all steel. The grates are not uncovered with the the padding. And yes, now you got the padding on the chamber floor, and rightfully so, and can't really fault from the match because for those who've seen the original Elimination Chamber matches, you can tell how painful that really is with flesh on steel. Not a good combination, for that matter. Of course, the season pass. I'm sorry. See, that's my thing too. I know that's going to be fucking $70. I'm pretty sure that's going to be for the base. Then again, that's probably going to be the base game. Another probably the Lux edition with Bianca and Rhea on the cover. That's so yeah. March 5th is when that's coming out. It'll be available March 5th, but worldwide, it's coming from March 8th. And of course, Miss Karen's got the mic. Yeah, booer San Jose. Yep, there it is. Oh God. You sure about that? Well, will you be if? You know what? She does have. Well, she does have a point about the Sharks. Even though let's bro, I can't say that much as a Flyers fan because I think we lost to them. Yeah, yeah, Chelsea, you're gonna be on the. And it's funny with Raquel. Obviously, for those who've seen that, she's kind of going her own natural self. And she did talk about this too. I think someone did an interview with her. Like, yeah, she's dealing with this. I think condition. I can't remember what the condition's called, but whereas like most of her skin flares up, and it's not, and it really kind of really throws everything off. So, that's and that was the reason why she almost missed the show because of that. But kind of glad that she actually was. But in terms of what Chelsea said in that small little promo, but yeah, but maybe that's just how I look at it. But oh, Chelsea just slapped the. Yeah, try to go for a handshake. Yeah, you pissed off the wrong way. Yeah, you don't do that. And ducks the close. Oh, what I mean, clothesline the second time around. What? And looks like damn. Yeah, it's a hard Bob 1, 2, and 3. And that. Thanks for coming, Chelsea. Honestly, man, I could have cared less for this. For that matter. We cut back to Sami Zayn after. Let's probably say put on a really good match with Shinsuke. But like I said, one does have to wonder what is next for Shinsuke, because Shinsuke's kind of in a spot where they're not even considering put him in like not not say put him in title matches, but he's not like learning because like Shinsuke, I don't know, it's really hard to explain where Shinsuke is, especially at this point of Shinsuke's career. And obviously, with Ludwig Kaiser now comes into the picture, and obviously didn't really think, and yeah, and got Gunther kind of. So I guess we could see a bit of a preview of an IC title match, maybe at Mania. I don't know. So Gunther coming up next on Raw. So that should be interesting, though. Tomorrow night for NXT. Definitely see where this goes, but I'm not streaming it because, like I said, going to some decent competition. Doing some also wrestling content creators that I've come across. I haven't really worked with, but I've come across my subscription box. But I don't know. NXT for me just hasn't done it like it used to, and that was the reason why. Well, not say just because I scrapped it. Like I said, it doesn't really bring new people into my coverage to it because I don't want to kind of bore you guys with my commentary because I know there's gonna be some people waiting to say some shit, but and it really does. it really does suck because I wanted to try something new for the for this channel is bringing NXT. But knowing it has already done well, and that includes the pay-per-views too, that as well. It really kind of sucked. It really kind of made me second guess, and maybe this was a stupid idea to bring in NXT for a change, because I know you guys been kind of coming in for Raw, SmackDown, and now for TNA as well, which has been actually kind of great. But it really does kind of suck that I and me and Tar, we hate scrapping different ideas from this channel, and obviously NXT was one of the ideas. Was my idea, but knowing the standing of where NXT is with a lot of people, and knowing and how it reflects, especially when I try to do it on a weekly basis. It made me think like I don't think no one really asked for this. And so I think let me check my studio. When was the last time I did it? Let me see. And kind of give you guys an idea of how long it's been. Because it really does bug me though. For not because not because I hate NXT or anything, but it's just I hate the fact that I've seen a lot of most people try to hate on it for stupidest reasons. These quote unquote wannabe journalists saying it's the worst product. They're a fucking developmental brand. What do you expect from them? I'm sorry, but no one says this is. And here's where I find the hypocrisy, and this is where I find this really fun with this hypocrisy. No one said shit, especially towards the end. I think when the Black and Gold era was unfortunately going to that transition to 2.0, and the writing was a little bit sketchy, but no one bat a fucking eyelid. But now with this new era, I guess you could say, and yes, a little bit still the stench of NXT 2.0, people said it's still the worst thing, to happen. And I'm not going to name names, but a certain individual said that NXT should go back on a Peacock. Like, first of all, they try to earn their TV deal. And if you don't like it, tough shit. That's the way I look at it. But we are coming back, obviously with Snickers, but I'm sorry, but I think M&M's for me is probably the better candy in my honest opinion. But don't get me wrong, I do like Snickers, but in terms of I want something quick and on the go, I go with a bag of M&M's all day, every day. Now, like I was saying, go back to the NXT before I kind of got off track. It's been more than 2 weeks ago. So last time I did NXT, and it feels like it's been a lot longer than I did that one. That might have been on my own. But do you guys really want to see NXT? Because let me know in the chat. Well, let me know, because I'm kind of very hesitant. Because I don't know. I'm very hesitant on breaking it back and then scrapping after 2 or 3 weeks. Honestly, Steve, that's a tough decision. For me, I like both. But if I have to choose first, I have to go with plain, because, and yes, for those who are have been to this all, because obviously, for me, I don't think nobody's ever seen or heard of an Aldi's grocery store, but I got 2. Well, technically, no, this is my last bag, because I got 2 bags. I had much down the leather bag, but I like both for that matter. But I'll go peanut first, then plain. I'm sorry, no, hang on, scratch that. Plain first, peanut second. Because maybe that's just me, because I'm as you guys seen, I'm very quirky on how I come off to a lot of people, and I know that doesn't really and that's kind of funny. especially in the earlier year, obviously the first 2 years of the channel's existence. Obviously, a year and a half, give or take. Um, and knew that it's gonna get haters for this channel, but it's kind of funny. Like people would take their time out of the day, say, "Oh, comment on my parents." Like, first of all, at least I do something productive with my life. Like these complete idiots to say, "Oh, they're gonna sit behind the screen and not do nothing." So it is what it is. So suck it. Um, but like I was saying, I'm very hesitant on bringing back NXT because, like I said, I want to keep that away for good because my thing, it's just like, because how do I explain this without repeating myself? Even though I do it, and I know you guys probably say, you have a tendency to repeat yourself. Yeah, I do. It's part of who I am. Um, but it's just okay. So Gunther has some new interesting on the Titantron. So it actually has his name across, I guess, the three column pillars on the back of the Titantron. So that's new. But like I was saying, which I will definitely gonna put out a community post or put out. But like I said, I don't know where I stand with NXT. I really don't. I like I said, I don't know because it's like, for one, because I like what I've seen in terms of the future is one of the things that keeps me going back to NXT. But in terms of like streaming and stuff like that and doing like actual coverage of it, I just think it turns a lot of people off for me. And not because like and I know I don't know. It's like I said, it's hard for me to explain where I stand with NXT. And look, it's not like I don't have a love hate relationship. And I know Tyra's the only one that I know personally that has a love hate with NXT, and at times rightfully so because it still has that stench of NXT 2.0. Because if Vince didn't take got his goddamn hands on it, we could have seen the black and gold era probably continue up to this present day. Probably some tweaks here and there with the new cream of the the new rosters like Tiffany Stratton, Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker, Evely Dragunov, for that matter. Um, so, but yeah, but let me know if you guys want to see NXT again, or I'll definitely put something out though. Which, funny enough, as Gunther puts it, yeah, Jay was supposed to take the belt off of Gunther on a random Raw, which, for one, yeah, I like to see Jay as the IC champ, but not on a random Raw. So I guess you had to scrap it. Yeah, baseball season. Like I said, and yes, you're going to see definitely a lot of MLB content too, and not just MLB, but obviously debuting minor league baseball for a change. So you're going to see a lot of minor league baseball content which is a new first. Because I put up a poll on my community tab on the channel's community tab, asking like, do you guys, especially for baseball fans out there, if you guys want to see me cover minor league baseball and seeing see what these prospects have to offer, when their time comes into the major leagues, where it's mostly going to be AAA, probably from AA to AAA. But if you want to see some single A, like the lower levels, I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely do that for sure. It's gonna be like I said, basically it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm very happy. And from it, and here's the funny thing, I'm one of the few that I could care less for spring training. I just want the regular season to fucking start. That's all I matter. That's all I'm where I'm at with that. I mean, that's see college baseball. I've been working a lot around with actually with college baseball, kind of going around the coming already here. And by the time I'm already getting done work, like baseball, it's been hard to do. And college baseball for me, it's been kind of hard. Not say hard to get into. I mean, I'll watch it for. I mean, I've been watching on a regular basis, but I haven't really streamed as much as I used to back in the. Obviously, back in I think year 2 of this channel's history for a bit. I still watch. Yeah, like I said, I still watch college baseball, and I'll do. And I usually will do the MLB draft as well. Which, but yeah, so it'd be interesting. Hmm. Hmm. So a little interesting face off with Imperium and part of Judgment Day. And as well too, for those who've seen my recent post on the community tab about 24 hours ago, and I'm gonna bring this up again. That start the OG Star Wars Battlefront is getting re-released for all modern consoles, for PS4 players, Xbox, Switch, even PS5 as well. Which I'm very happy. So you guys are going to see a lot of that type of content for both the first and the second game. Mostly the second game first, because that was the one game I grew up a lot with. Huh. The question is, oh damn, and with Dom just kind of getting to the face of the ring general himself. I'm sorry, but I don't know. But I don't think Gunther doesn't look that impressed with Dom. Why do we feel we're gonna get a 6-man tag match probably later on tonight, Imperium and Judgment Day? Shoot, I have no issues with that, for that matter. Mm. Okay, so we're trying to get more gold. Well, that's coming up next. Imperium and the New Day making their way in a street fight. I swear they could have did that last week. Or am I just going fucking crazy? I'm so because I remember watching last week's Raw, and I could have sworn they did it. They or it's the one before that. I must be going to lose my fucking mind. But I guess I'm just getting crazy then. But so far, not a not a bad Raw, but it hasn't really been that great either. Like I said, that match with Chelsea Green and Raquel for me wasn't really needed. And granted, I know Triple H is doing his best to get these women more time. Because I know the women's division, for obviously both Raw and SmackDown, or it's far not say it's I would say more in the state where needs to be retooled. And my thing is, and I'm really grateful for Triple H trying to get these women more time. But when you have women like, God, who am I thinking of right now? And yeah, I know. I mean, with future stars coming up, like a Tiffany Stratton, even though she's already on the main roster, being part of SmackDown, which I know SmackDown at times has been at times can be hit and miss, depending on the week. Now, I would say, the last couple of weeks that me and Tyra have done with SmackDown was actually been pretty solid at a couple solid episodes. And yes, we didn't really, and as I said before, we didn't do last week's episode because obviously it was pre-taped. I think on a Tuesday, I think it was, because he had to do early travels out to Australia for or I think or it might have been the Friday, but could be wrong. I don't know what SmackDown's what their weekly schedule is looking, or what their weekly schedule is. So who knows? um, but out outside of that, I thought the Elimination Chamber was okay. It was a good show, but very fucking predictable. And that's one thing that I know a lot of wrestling fans like myself will kind of nitpick at that, and at times, rightfully so, because and then again, we're kind of in this age now where most shit's predictable, and I don't know, because I've always felt like that the Elimination Chamber themed pay per view, or they're calling around right now the pay per view alignment, but I still think still should call pay per view, regardless. It really hasn't really felt the same, and I think I said this too in my tweet too. Actually, let me see if I can read it off of basically what I said, because hold up. And I'll read the follow up too that I did too. Um, because where is it? Oh, on it, because this was yesterday that when I posted this, I pretty much said, "quote Is it just me, or has the Elimination Chamber lost its luster in terms of a match concept in the past few years. I know I'm fucked up on something, but besides that, um, since being introduced by Eric Bischoff in 2002, we've gotten a lot of memorable moments in its history. But like the last 5 or so years, it doesn't have like the same. It doesn't feel like the same it used to like back in the early 2000s. From WWE, I'd scrap the Elimination Chamber pay per view, kind of how like TLC got scrapped. I don't think really fans we really care much for a match theme pay per views. Maybe that's just my thinking. I know it's as crazy as it sounds, as I say, Elimination could be scrapped or should be scrapped because I don't think really people were really care for like that type of theme pay per views because sometimes they never really live up to it. I look at the past couple of years ago with the Extreme Rules before Triple H got but yeah. But actually, I will finish my thought because obviously we've seen a little bit of a face to face with Andrade and Dom Mysterio in the back. But like I was saying, you get point back on track. I think and I think that's the reason why the TLC pay per view we haven't really seen in a few years because I don't think it never really does well. I mean, granted, just you got to give the originators some credit to that's the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian and the Hardys that brought that over. But to have its own pay per view is I don't know. It's just kind of sounds like a stupid idea, and I think that's where the Elimination Chamber for me the last few years, I would say the last 5 or so years has been, and I just don't think. No, Bell's already wrong, and you had the New Day already in the San Jose Shark sweaters or jerseys. As I know, a lot of hockey fans call them sweaters because, well, they look like sweaters. But that's by pinfall submission. Yeah, we all know how this goes. And that's the thing. Another thing too that I've noticed too, like some of this, like when you do like street fights, they just there's some decent street fights, but at the same time, like I know it's really weird. But then again, who knows? But now it looks like we're down to I would say more of a start quietly on a handicap. Oh man, and man, Xavier Woods with the trombone. Huh, that's a I haven't seen we haven't have not seen the trombone in a long time. Well, that's great to see you. Now let's see what Kofi's looking, and we're getting a table. And obviously Kaiser tells him, nope, no tables for you you crazy fans. No, but both the New Day members are in the ring. Now Imperium and eats a double forearm. Both the Kaiser and Vinci. Looks like they were going to fly. Well, Kofi over the top. Well, you had Xavier kind of go through the middle rope with a drop kick. Interesting, but hey, that's just how I kind of look at it. Well, like I said, it's not been a bad episode, but it's just this has been a good episode of Raw. Now it's going to depend on hour 3. And the last couple of Raws that I've done on my own, because obviously with Tyler being under the weather and also or technical problems that he's been dealing with, it's usually that's where the third hour kind of just either A, it takes me out, or the number 2, or letter B, it's boring as shit. So that's why probably seen like the last couple of Raws were like under 3 hours most of the time. Well, obviously some of the time, not most. But that's kind of one of my biggest thing with I don't know. But I do think Raw needs to be definitely Raw needs to be 2 hours. That's for sure. Back to what it once was way back in the day, or back in the day for those who remember Raw being 2 hours. But but oh well. What are you gonna do? But if they're gonna keep it 3 hours, like I said, I'm not gonna really be one of those fans to go bitch and complain about. I was like, But would it be nice to be for 2 hours? Oh, absolutely. Because like I said, you can get a lot of stuff done, or at least get the entire show filled within 2 hours. I mean, and that's the reason why you guys, and that was another reason why y'all haven't really seen AEW content a lot because let's bro, A, it's been boring. B, I don't know what the fuck direction they're going in for that matter. And number three, it's just like it's hard for me to start to sit through a 2 hour show without getting fucking bored. And that's kind of how AEW's been for obviously what past 6 months from like late 2023. Well, probably even longer than that, but it feels more like 6 months that we haven't really been doing it because well, no one gives a fuck. And roughly fuck itself because that shit. But yeah, it's just I don't know. But as we come back from that commercial break, and obviously both have both teams now fighting within the crowd in this in here at the SAP Center. And Kaiser now throwing an elbow to the side of the head of Kofi, while you have Vinci and Xavier Woods almost went by Woods' TNA name back in the day. Austin Creed, I think it is. I could be wrong. God Lord, that's been a while. But the back body drop right on the apron. I'm pretty sure he's gonna kind of feel that in the morning. Obviously, now we get the chairs introduced into the mix. Oh, and Xavier Woods eats a chair to the gut, no, into the spine. I love it though, man. Oh, and a running kick to the chest. Trying to take the wind out of Xavier Woods. So interesting setup. Looks like Vinci's trying to go for a. Oh, and a double team. Good lordy. And then Woods eats more steel chair. And kick Kofi, nice double crossbody. Now get some momentum going into a side rushing leg sweep. And into a nice little body slam right across the chest of Vinci. We're going to get the double boom drop. Honestly, oh, a little boom drop. And Kaiser now eats a couple rib shots. Nice little drop down. Oh, no, right. Woof. It looks like Kofi's going back for that table. Somebody's getting put through that table. I know that for a fact. And Vinci puts a stop from Kaiser getting put through a table. Double suplex and connect. And Woods now has his. Oh, now we got Kaiser with the kendo sticks. Oh, double kendo stick to the back. Hands one to Vinci. Oh, and just double kendo stick shots. And Kaiser eats a mean knee by Kofi Kingston. Got to stop him. Xavier. Oh, God. And Kofi gets clotheslined hard. It's dropped like a sack of potatoes. Woods. Oh, God. Vinci, like a freaking, it's like a steamroller that can't be stopped. Now, time for more kendo stick shots from Giovanni Vinci. And Ludwig Kaiser. And just whacks the knee. And also, too, I want to point this out, too. I actually do like the name change for Kaiser and Vinci when they were, I think, Kaiser was Marcel Barthol. Let's bro, that sounds very fucking stupid. I think Ludwig Kaiser sounds so much better. I don't know what Vinci's original name was during his NXT days, but it's a lot better than it's better than now that he's Vinci than anything else. But so far, we're about an hour and a half in, so it's gonna be interesting. And so far, like I said, give me 1 second, guys. But like I said, shout out to everyone's been in the chat though, or tuning in, whether you're coming from YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. Like I said, like I said, this Raw hasn't really been. Well, I wouldn't really say. I mean, you could put in the great category, but like I said, that one match didn't really do it for me was Raquel and Chelsea Green. Now, yes, with Raquel winning, it helps her kind of get back, getting that momentum going. 40 like since coming off that Elimination Chamber loss. But then again, like I said, that match I really could care less for. Not because I don't really hate Raquel. I mean, look, I want to see her have success, But whatever they have going for her, it's not really working. I think that some changes need to be made with her because I think there is championship material with her. But before we get back into it, I'll be right back. I got to take a quick bathroom break. Oh, all right. Sorry about that. And I got the crowd chanting tables. I got to get the crowd what they asked for. It's gonna be very interesting, though. Mostly, may eventually might be the one going through a table. So, Xavier Woods off the top. Crowd buying into it and into an elbow drop through the table. Now, obviously, the holy shit chance, obviously, no one on PG program. Covered by Woods. 1, 2, no! And okay, very smart way to break up the count by Loki Kaiser pulling the ref out. And here comes Kofi. So across a little Pat McAfee with some hockey terminology getting thrown in. Yeah, this I will say this actually has been a very solid street fight tag match. Now I know the street fight concept or the match stipulations kind of been not as been what it once was. I know we've seen some really good street fights in years past, but it's your typical oh my god and Wood or I'm sorry, that's Kofi going through the table. Xavier Woods gets tossed right in the chair in the corner. Roll up. 1, 2, and 3. Imperium picks up the win. I gotta say, I'll take back what I said on that street fight. And I really do hope this actually is a start to hopefully see them in the tag title scene because they need to be back. They need to be in the tag title scene because if you're going to have obviously little highlights for Grayson Waller, and like I said, I'm going to say this too. I'm one of those few that I could have cared less for that Grayson Waller effect on that pay per view. It was never fucking needed. Like you could have done something different to fill that time in. But maybe that's just me because I feel like the Grayson Waller effect should be taken for just for like TV purposes, like actual like TV tapings with. But just have it on a pay per view, yeah, no, that really brought it down a tad for me. And I know we're going to nitpick at that, but it's a right. Hmm, more. So, so of course, Michael Cole, obviously, Pat McAfee is kissing Gunther's ass after he's shut down, which that was kind of funny too. And it's only last week. And now we got Shayna Baszler, who I don't know with her at this point because for one, when she first came up on the main roster, like I was excited, and then they went with this whole whatever the fuck they were doing with her biting people, like drawing blood or whatnot. That was kind of fucking stupid. Then pairing her with Ronda Rousey and that crappy MMA style match, so you should have just had a regular match to begin with on Ronda's way out, and obviously good riddance to her, Ronda that is. But Shayna has been kind of I don't know. Shannon's just in the very weird spot. Um, maybe that's just me, but I think the conversation needs to be had with Shayna. It's like, is she really going to be the worth an investment, especially in terms of the women's division? I really do hope so because I think she's got the talent to really help be a good women's wrestler. You can put on some good matches. But the way how the WWE has used her, I would say since she's been on the main roster, God, how long has it been? God, I don't know. Yeah, that was February. So she's yeah, it's a really weird spot for Shayna. And the fact she's been on the main roster for multiple years. So the fact that Vince, it's still funny how Vince, and that's another thing too. Like if you know, like if Vince was, and that's another thing too. I want to touch on with the Vince, a whole Vince being such a complete fucking douchebag about. If you're gonna be one of those, I know Vince for some reason just never really cared for MMA guys, which gets kind of fucking stupid because when you have if Brock Lesnar is the only one that, and obviously I know who, well, that remains to be seen in the court of public opinion, but that's besides the point. With using the MMA stuff, but no one has a problem with it. Then you have Matt Riddle, who same kind of thing, but at the same point also had a drug problem, which that's a whole different conversation because I mean, rightfully so, he deserved to get released because obviously of the drug problems he's had. Um, and now you have Shayna Baszler, who, despite having an MMA style background, they actually have her as a kickboxer. Um, and the fact her push got canceled after the Money in the Bank pay per view. I think about a few years ago. I think it was during the pandemic era. Like you could have had something right then and there with her. And since then, it's been I would say limbo with her. You know, it sucks, man. It really does suck for someone like Shayna. And now, yes, I know I've seen some not say criticisms, but I know like it seems like the crowd reaction it's not there. And I've noticed that she's not to get a pop like she used to get. And it kind of makes me wonder like is WWE really going to try are trying their best to get the Shayna of old back when she first came up? And unfortunately that was kind of the same point where she was biting the people biting the back of the necks of people, which I don't understand fucking why that was a thing. And that made her a complete joke because if everybody remembers for her down in NXT to the black and gold, become the badass that she was, you know, I want to see that again because it's so ridiculous. Of I would say, would you ever consider it a downfall? I mean, the kind of conversation what we had for a downfall with of Shayna Baszler, but then again, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, a lack thereof of the women's tag division because let's be real, no one. Here's my thing: no one fucking asked for the women's tag division. And when I saw that they were going to introduce some new women's tag belts, I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to see that because for that matter, the NXT women's belts, this has been way before they unified them, never meant yet down in NXT. Now we had actually, well, other than for Kaden and Katana, but that's besides that's a whole. Well, I think they were before Katana, um, before she had that name before as Casey Cantanzaro. I do. I hope I apologize. I'm not fucking that name up, but and I love Indy. Just I don't know what they've been doing with her. Candace, I feel like she's becoming like a lost cause. You know, I don't know. And I think this is going to be another match that really kind of doesn't really do it for me. Well, Bell's already underway for and it's our second, I think our second tag team match, I guess, of the night. Nice little sitting out senton. Like Candice can wrestle. Don't get me wrong. Her wrestling building is there, but just the gimmick that she has, the poison pixie, eh, you could tell the crowd doesn't give two shits about it. And the crowd reaction, oh boy. And obviously Shayna, and a knee to the oh, and yeah, that was kind of like, yeah, welcome to the match there, Candace. Good lord. Got a little bit glossy eyed there. And now kind of just choking her out with from Shayna Baszler with her boot. Oh, and look, a stomp to the arm of bait. I'm sorry, with well, Candice LeRae. I'm sorry, but Candice LeRae just it's been nice little shoulder Yankee. Another one by from Zoe Stark, kind of just an inverted shoulder breaker. Man, they're really working on that injured shoulder of Candice LeRae. Try to pull that out. Now a little trash talking. That's a good. Now that's another thing too. And the thing is, what I look, Zoe Stark is another one that I've actually like in terms of the future, but like she's the only one that I can see that needs more promo training. And I would say more like fine tuning because her promo skills, it's a bit a bit off. Not saying it's a bad thing. We'll cover one, two, and no, because it's like if you can't connect to the crowd from a promo perspective, like how's anybody going to take you seriously? I mean, other than just despite kicking ass and taking names, but then again, nice little jawbreaker. But then again, we have seen stars who don't have not have good promo skills actually going on have surprised they have on success, which is a possibility. Or in this case, try to have at least have a mouthpiece with her. Or at least have her pair or work with somebody that actually knows how to fine tune the promo ability. Because Zoe, I think that's the one thing that Zoe, I would kind of say it's not say it's holding so. Damn, already that didn't last too long. And shit. But now you got the winner of the men's 2024 Elimination Chamber, Drew McIntyre, finally getting his opportunity at WrestleMania. Let's just hopefully have our fingers crossed WWE doesn't fuck up again and give him the actual overdue belt that he's actually, let's bro, shown that he can do. But who am I to say? I'm not the one who's booking the matches. But at some point, because, and I will say this now, I'm going to put this on record too. If WWE does not pull the trigger with Drew's walking. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Drew is walking out of WWE and probably elsewhere and taking his talents elsewhere because the creative direction doesn't want to do nothing with him. That's the reason why you haven't really seen him obviously TV in like say 6 to 7 months. This creative direction was fucking shit with him. But then again, who am I to say? But I'm just hoping finally. But look, that's just how I look at it. That's just kind of how my feelings with Drew is at this point because Drew is going to make it known, and he has made it known. I would say what late of throughout most of 2023, where and he made it clear it's like I'm not showing up till I get better booking and a better creative direction because there's no way in hell to misuse a guy who got became a jobber in 2014 and three to be part of that 3MB, which I know a lot don't really want to remember that. And comes back I think in 2017 or 2018 to NXT when I'm still in the black and gold era. You after reinventing himself in places like ICW or well, I think at the time Impact is what it was known as at the time before they had the TNA branding and before all that was Scott D'Amore being fired, but that's besides the point. Wins the NXT championship. Actually has a really good run, has got some good matches. Guys like Aleister Black, Andrade. I think, or did I think you wrestled Andrade? I could be wrong. Either way, like I said, I'm going to have to go back to watch some of his matches down at NXT because I can't remember the life of me. But then again, it's still at the same point where their NXT was not on television, so then again, that kind of explains it. So, but Drew's got to win a Mania. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it because if he doesn't, I'm always going to say it. He's going to leave, and I think he's going to go either back to ICW or TNA, or maybe go to New Japan. Well, then again, no, I don't think. I really don't see New Japan as an option. Or might just to do some indie work. Who knows? What So Saturday's Elimination Chamber in Perth was the highest attended and most watched in history. Well, when we come back to R-Truth, who unfortunately got lost on his way to Australia. Obviously, went to Austria. Never got them pairing out. Oh, jeez. Well, we got the Scottish Warrior making his way down. But Man, you gotta love the Scottish Warrior. But and I know another funny thing too I saw, especially during elimination chamber. No one really liked how that finish of that went, but yeah, and let's hopefully we get a new champ come at Mania, because I know I'm gonna beat this around. I know I'm already sounding like I'm beating a dead horse on this, but I really want to make this very known that Drew's got to win a Mania, because if you piss him off anymore, he's walking. I and I know, and shout out to Cherry, and the rest of and some of the diehard Drew fans. I'm good follow, and also good followers of the Twitter page. We're not going to be happy, not at all. And I hope it's going to be a good match nonetheless, regardless. God. Oh boy. Nah, you ain't wrong. I mean, I'd rather have Drew. Look, I love CM Punk. Don't get me wrong, but I would rather just have a guy like Drew, who's a bit younger, more faster. Quite honestly, hasn't really. Nothing I know of has dealt with a serious injury. Over a guy like CM Punk, who is, well, you can call it bring his durability into question. Now we've got Seth Rollins making his way out. Even though some questionable. But hopefully, should be a good match at Mania between these two. Obviously, we're seeing so far. We've seen a couple previews Oh my. But well, so far we've seen a couple previews with for regarding the Mania. First kicked it off with Becky and Rhea. Well, technically Rhea and Becky is better before I and now we're getting a preview for hopefully probably night one or night two. Take the I really yeah, you ain't wrong, John L. And obviously, I know you really have, and like I mentioned before, like Tyler is still dealing with the with the cold or the coughing part of getting over a cold, for that matter. So that's the reason why you're seeing me probably for this entirety of this show, which I don't mind, which I've done it a couple times in the past. Um, Seth frickin' Rollins. I'm sorry, just ever since they put that frickin' in the middle, in between his name, I was not a huge fan of it. It's so stupid. Dude, trust me, I feel you. Try having for me, I had to deal with fucking bronchitis for 2 weeks. Obviously 2.5 weeks, give or take. So I had to deal with bronchitis for 2.5 weeks, or almost 2.5 weeks. Then after that, coughed so hard in my sleep one night, busted my eye open. Well, technically ruptured multiple blood vessels in my eye. So I had to get that checked out. I mean, Drew, you got a point. Drew's got a point there. Who knows? Who knows, John L? Who who legitimately knows? Off. Hmm. Mhm. But yeah. So I think he does stay. But I like I said, I know I'm beating around a dead horse. I don't know how many times I've beaten around a dead horse at this. If Drew loses at Mania, number one, I think he's gone. Number two, that's gonna piss off a lot of people and a lot of Drew fans, and technically myself. You know, I don't put myself in that category where I'm a fan of Drew. I like what he's done, but at this point, like the dude has done everything since post 2020. He's been giving and giving and give, like doing everything, putting on some solid matches. And you really can't reward and yeah, reward him with title opportunities, but the dude's always set so far. This company has given this dude, made this dude 0-7 in championship matches. And no one really bats an eyelid because like it's like, well, so maybe he's faced some separate contest. The dude went up against Sheamus, who has done some great work in WWE. He had a megastar in Gunther, who has done some fantastic work as the IC champion. But besides that, I got no complaints about this episode whatsoever. Whatsoever. Hold it. Hello. Hello. Ding 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 ding. Come on, brain. Work with me here. Uh yeah, so I'm just hoping Drew just kicks his ass at Mania. And I hope it's gonna be a very good tough competition between these two men. At least you're gonna get your ass. He has to. We're 4 years removed from the pandemic. And if and Drew has made a note, and I know for those who have not paid attention or followed with what I said or have not really paid attention, obviously the last couple of years, Drew has made it known that the way that they're doing his creative direction has not been great, and he's kind of held out for, and with this, and also the part that plays in part to his contract coming up, whatever that I think later sometime this year. I don't know what Sheamus's contract's looking like, but when I don't know with Sheamus, like I said, that's going to be a whole nother thing at a different point. But I do think Sheamus. This is my thing with Sheamus. All right, I think the WWE has to do something with him to get him that IC championship at some point and finally make him a Grand Slam champion. Because if you can do it with anybody else, yeah, and that's what I'm worried. See, this is where, and for those who have been around this channel for a long time, obviously in the last couple of episodes, you've seen me do Raw by myself because either Tyler, my buddy Tyler is under the weather, which like I said, he's actually kind of been under the weather. And obviously the last week, and that really kind of, and either B is other technical problems. And this is where mostly I will cut it at over past the 2 hour mark. But I'm going to try to see what this third hour is going to look like because if it's boring, I'm just gonna sit through it because and also I did put out a community post too throughout the show on the put up a poll, not on Twitter but also on on the community post. Do you guys want to see NXT? Because I'm very hesitant because my brain's telling me to bring it back for my heart's telling me to bring it back for the people, but my brain's telling me it's like, is it really worth it? And it's going to get stagnant. Like so far, And I'll tell you this too. Like the last time I ever had done a one good episode of NXT, I think it was like months ago. Um, but our next match of the night is Nia Jax and Liv Morgan. But so far, it's been well, I don't know, man. It's been, and it's just one of those things. And here's the thing, I know I kind of beat around the dead horse with a lot of things, NXT in particular, because I know for those who are going to be new viewers for the first time, it's like want to get into NXT and stuff like that. Not really seeing it. It's like, and it kind of got me thinking. It's like with and I'm the kind of person. Me and Tyler, we're the kind of people that hate scrapping some stuff from the channel because that's not what we want to do. And if it doesn't really work out, we usually tend to scrap it. And for me, even though NXT was kind of my idea, just to throw something new in, and no one just it never really worked. And actually, now that I think about it, let me take a look because boy, I really do want to see how this plays out. Because good lord. So I mean the first time I got into NXT was September 20th, 2022. And the last time I've ever had it, and like I said, I know the views kind of fluctuate here. That me and Todd really don't care about the numbers. But I mean, the only time every that entire one episode of NXT kind of popped off on the channel was back in November 7th, 2023. Um, it just ever since then, it's been hard to really sustain viewership. I mean, outside of Ghoulie being on the and shout out to Ghoulie who actually joined me for the first time on NXT back on February 6th, which is Jesus, 20 days ago. It's John L, you and me both. See, that's kind of how me and Tyler are. Obviously, the past what feels like almost a year, give or take. And that's the reason why you haven't really seen it. And that's the thing too. And I've heard that it was good, but in terms of me trying to bring the content coverage itself, kind of like how Mitch are doing with SmackDown, Raw, and TNA, like it's really hard to bring new eyes to NXT. And that kind of really pains me a little bit because when I kind of think to myself, what the hell am I doing wrong? I try to make the thumbnails cover as possible, try to make a pop and stuff like that, and try to do it on a weekly basis, but just I don't know, like since I don't I, I don't know, it was weird because I would consider it as a failure. But I don't know. Like I'm trying to ask the people because I'm conflicted. I really am because I know I've seen there's like one side that likes it. You have that other side that has its criticisms, but they talk about play like ideas of how to fix it. And others are just like, and I did a lot of NXT for the last, well, be 2 years come September 20th. We make it 2 years since trying to cover NXT on a weekly basis, and I did what I could, and it sucked. Well, not say it sucked, but the last. How do I explain this? But I don't know, man. It really did. It does stink because I'm the only one that's doing it, and that's kind of where I think where the problem stems from. Like I know Tyler. if NXT wasn't fucking ruined by Vince and Bruce Pritchard, I think Tyler would have done NXT with me. But he's only done one episode. I think one or two. He's done. I think he's done 2 episodes with me in total of NXT so far. The entire this channel has covered NXT, and it's just been me. It's been me, for me for most of it, and well, you can tell that it should tell you the reaction, or not say the reaction, but kind of where the damn, what the fuck's my God? This eyelashes fucking suck. But besides that, like, I'm not trying to say I don't hate NXT. It's just for me, it's hard to kind of draw it. Like, think of like think of like say the NBA. Yeah, see that's where my conflict is. It's just how yeah, and that's the reason why like I've been very inconsistent. Like I said, I'll do it in do 2 episodes and which is in 2 weeks time, and then I'll scrap it. It's like there's no I'm inconsistent with it, and I'm conflicted with it too because it's like I said, the November 7th episode that I've done in 2023 of NXT that did pretty well in terms of viewership and shit like that. But it's just I don't know. Do I want to bring it back? Sure, but is it really gonna really work? I don't know because I've been out of NXT for multiple weeks, and I know I've kind of really missed some stuff. So I'm gonna have to, yeah, and and TNA too. Don't get me wrong, TNA has been. I'm very intrigued of the direction where TNA is going to go post Scott D'Amore, um, because I got my concerns because if TNA kind of goes. So an interesting submission move by Nia. So that's a first. Oh my god! And her Liv goes eats a face full of the second turnbuckle. But now with TNA, I'm waiting to see what direction they go in. Just because you already got rid of Scott D'Amore, who's been there for over 20 years, which is kind of crazy to think about, and knowing that you're pissed off most of the talent, and from different reports, I've heard like there's some reports they're saying it could bring him back but in a different role. I don't think that's the possibility. And there was another report that I've read that Scott D'Amore did try to buy TNA away from Anthem. Um, I'll give it. Let's just say 3 to 4 weeks. And because I know the last couple episodes, I kind of, one episode I kind of, didn't really do because I felt, oh, and here's a funny story because I was watching one episode of TNA. I fell asleep like the first, not because it was boring, but just I was just too tired that one Thursday night, and I just fell asleep about a third way through it. Um, but last week's episode, I kind of really didn't really bother. And I didn't watch No Surrender either, so that really kind of says a lot too. So TNA's kind of been very inconsistent on this end, but at the same time, it's kind of been meh. No, well, not saying really mad. I like what I've seen, but I'm really seeing where. But like I said, I'll give it some time to let it play out. Because I'm not going to give it up too quickly before making any decisions. And I'm going to have to definitely talk to Tyler about this too. Because I think this is a good discussion he and I are gonna have to have. Now, would it suck? Would TNA go in a really bad direction? like I said, I'll give it time. I do work. I work Thursday morning. By the time I get done, I'm already. I'll definitely cover on this Thursday. That's for sure. I think I don't work nights, and I fucking hate working nights. And but like I said, I do work Thursday, but I don't get home till three p.m. So I'll be home in time for TNA. But like I said, I'll give it time to see where TNA goes. Now, if Anthem decides to fuck it up, then yeah. But we'll see. Like I said, I'll give it a chance. But like I said, I don't think she can. Here's the thing on that. The thing with AEW is they need Booker. They need a proper Booker and a writing team because they got to get back to what was working in 2019's early years. And if they can't do that, then oh well. But we'll see. But like I said, that's the reason why I would whether that's the reason why I game a lot on Wednesdays or either do NBA or do NBA content for that matter, or just not even bother watching AEW at all. AEW's been fucking boring. Oh, nice little the inverted snap mirror, or say, or like a snap hangman on the back of the top rope. Morgan on the second measuring and shotgun dropkick. Second rope again, and gets cold. Oh, nice second rope code breaker from Liv Morgan. I mean, who doesn't put up with weird people nowadays, even in everyday life? So I feel because that's the reason why I put up the poll in the first place, because especially in terms with NXT shit like that. Just because I want to kind of see where the people stand or where the people lie, especially in terms of the content that we do. Before I start, oh god, god damn it. Okay, USA, y'all gotta fix your fucking production. Good grief. I'm tired of oh no, gets caught by Naya. Eh, oh god, you sure that's somewhat that's more like just like a little bump. And Becky Lynch well, I had a feeling this was going to happen. No lost between these two because after what happened earlier in the show, and Becky just smashing the ever living hell. Mm-hmm. And out goes Nia to the floor, and Becky is just animalistic. So we're going to be the last 30 minutes. So far, not a bad start to the third hour of Raw. So Okay. So Cody Rhodes coming up next. Cody Rhodes and Grayson Waller. So it'll be main event time. So far, holy, huh? That's with me and other with Wolfenstein and shit like that. So I don't. I that's just kind of me. So like I said, AEW is just one of those things. Like, nah, I don't really care. But maybe that's just me. I don't see that because I don't see that with because I don't think that it would appease anybody, and at the same time, you've already had Becky win the chamber to go against Rhea. Gotta stick what you gotta keep. You gotta follow through with it. And I know as crazy as it sounds, but not really because I know I've talked about it a few times. This year's Elimination Chamber, especially the last 5 years or so, has not been it really lost its luster. Not because of, like they water it down because of for PG purposes, but it's just it doesn't really have that same feeling that we saw obviously in the early to mid 2000s when and yeah, you still have like the winner of that gets their opportunity. Um, I think there was that before they actually added that stipulation, but I could be wrong. Either way, you had some pretty good matches over the years in the Elimination Chamber and some crazy moments when Triple H got his Adam's apple broken by accident, of course, with RVD. At the time, you didn't really think it had that much room. Ooh. Oh, oh, god damn it. I didn't realize how a young coming on. But I guess I will say, I also see how most of it's. And of course, with these commercial breaks, but so far, it has been so. I would say good. Yeah, so actually, you know what? I will say solid. Though, like I said, the only one that for me, I'm this is going to bring down just a tad for me was that women's tag team match with Zoe and Shayna taking on Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. And I said it because I do a lot of update. And let's say I never do any update tweets and stuff like that, opinionated stuff, in terms of Raw and stuff like that on my Twitter account. But I've talked about, um, hold up, I did talk about that match, um, and I do, and I know it doesn't really get much people talking, but a lot of people are seeing it, so I'm kind of grateful for that. So this is basically what I said. Oh, nope, that's my pinned one. Well, for the channel and stuff like that. That said, Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler win in quick fashion. To be honest, this is the match I didn't really care for. I, I know this may ruffle some feathers, but this is kind of how I felt that Shayna Baszler has been a shell of her old self from NXT and had a hell of a downfall in WWE. Zoe has potential, but she also has needs to fine tune her promo ability. But I do like Indy Hartwell. Don't get me wrong. I think she needs to go back to NXT because I don't really think she's cut out for the main roster. And you can tell that they're trying something with on the main roster, but I don't think it's really working. If it's not working for me, I said don't flat out release her. Like send her back, like demote her back down to NXT because I think she's done some really decent work down there. And obviously with Liv was very pissed. So uh, well said. That's been good. Don't get me wrong. But and after that, and I also said Candice LeRae is the lost cause on the main roster, and I will still stand by that. Well, that's the thing too. Like, which well, you got to remember of that Chamber's history. It's been that match concept like I mentioned before, it has been around since 2002. Since I was 5 years old, me and Tyler were 4 and 5 when the first Elimination Chamber took place. Now that being said, the Elimination Chamber, it looks like it kind of like these Elimination Chamber, like say with the past 5 years, you can tell it looks. I know they're selling it just to say that it's like painful and stuff like that, but the way how that royal looks, it looks really gimmicky. I don't think those were a real change and stuff like that, like they used to have in the original Elimination Chamber. Now, I do like the different design, the new design though, because I like it how it gives more room for the superstar to come if we want to do like a pod spot. So I'm all for that, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Like, I mean, all right, we have brawl backstage between Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre, and I have a feeling I'm calling this now. That's going to be our next. I think that's going to be our main event next week on Raw. Main event time, and of course, if fucking USA would stop fucking buffering, would be fucking nice. Well, we got to the commercial, and it's funny. I think they did bring up two already because I've noticed some things where, in a sense, yes. Look, I might have a different objective opinion than everybody else, but the way that I see, well, I don't do it like this. And yeah, that tag match it did happen, but it didn't really. Let's be real. It only lasted about, I would say, felt like about 5 seconds before Indy Hartwell got choked the hell out by Shayna Baszler. But yeah, But I will say this too: the one tag match actually I've really been impressed with. I know this may differ for everybody. Was that Street Fight tag match with Imperium and New Day? Now I know a lot of the new people, most people, I would say, kind of had already had their fill with the New Day, and to an extent, I do agree to an extent. I do like Candice LeRae, but something's got to give with her. She's not connecting. I don't think that's her fault. The Poison Pixie, Elizabeth, I think that really does work with NXT. Don't get me wrong, but it's just if you're gonna bring her up, or let's just do this in a hypothetical scenario where let's just say she's back in. So here's my hypothetical on this one. Oh, definitely. The Elimination Chamber looks a lot painful back in the day than it is now. Now, granted, I can understand why they want to try to make it as safe as possible because let's bro, have you seen what the original just hearing like the actual chains and obviously people guys getting body slammed for that matter. For that matter, just to I would say in a way where like you can hear like how painful that really is. Now, I know me and Tara had our not say issues, but we did have our neck picks with this current iteration, I guess you could say, with the Elimination Chamber because of the padding on the mat on the chamber floor. And I get it. You don't want to see your wrestlers get hurt because let's be real, have you and obviously it's but I've really liked, don't get me wrong, I like the design. Don't get me wrong. It's just like once you look, it's going to be something to be getting used to. But here's what I will say. Now to go back to the thing with Candice LeRae before we kind of quickly switched off of that. Now let's just say if she was back in NXT, still on NXT, right? And obviously, still as the Poison Pixie has done well with and I fucking called it that we're getting Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre next week on Raw. And that's going to lead up to next week as well. Nia Jackson and Becky Lynch next week. But the thing with Candice LeRae, though, like I was saying before I got sidetracked. So if she was still in NXT, right? And obviously the Poison Pixie did get that gimmick did pretty well, got over with it with all the NXT crowd and stuff whatnot. And then she gets her main roster call up. A lot of the, and obviously, and that's where, and I don't think and that's another problem that I have is too, like, you don't have like these video packages of showing like who these NXT call-ups are. Because no more, because we don't see that now anymore nowadays. And now the fact that we've seen Tiffany Stratton so far in a short time on the main roster has connected with the crowd just like that, like a flick of a switch. And I'm very happy to see that because since my inconsistencies with NXT, and I've noticed like she can connect with the crowd because let's bro, people hate it, kind of gimmicks like that. But that's what really makes it work with Tiffany Stratton. And I've been very impressed with what I've seen from her. And let's bro, stole the entire show of that women's elimination chamber. I've definitely been impressed with what I've seen from Tiffany Stratton so far on her short time in the main roster. And the sky is the limit with her. I know it's got fucking Jade on her way already, soon to be on the way on the main roster too. At the same time, it sounds going to be a fun time for SmackDown. That's for sure. But main event time, Cody Rhodes. I don't know where Dexter Lumis has been. And honestly, if he got quietly released, Hope he does well better elsewhere, or if just wants to take time away. Because for a Texas Loomis for a bit, that's not really impressed me. Other than the fact that he had that one sitting in one part of Tacoma FD where he actually finally speaks, which still doesn't really sit, which was kind of weird at first, but it's well, maybe that's just me. So Cody and Grayson Waller. Hmm. Okay. I dig it. And bells already underway here in this main event. Nice little lock up in the middle of the ring. Nice little standing headlock into a judo. Nice little takedown head scissors. Nice little takedown again from Grayson Waller. Kick it. Nice little waist lock. Oh, and a back elbow to the jaw of Cody Rhodes, courtesy of Grayson Waller. Now, face first in the top turnbuckle goes Cody. Kind of now staggering a little bit to the other corner. Now, Cody, oh, for the open hand palm strike of his own. Oh, hell, I got a yawn coming. God damn. So Cody, let's go for a suplex here. And I'm going to delay vertical suplex. Gotta get the blood rushing into the top of the head. She, uh, you like I said, I'm surprised people are starting to become fans of her. Like you, and seeing that's where my problem goes back to the video packages. Like you could have, if you show like a video package of Tiffany Stratton of what she's all about, she would, and then again at the same time she's already connected with fans in a very short amount of time. She's been on the main roster, so either way, Tiffany, like I said, she's made a lot of fans. Even though as a heel, though, it's kind of funny because she's. God damn. And no, for those who are wondering what yawning, no, I'm not bored at this third hour, which is kind of shocking. But hey, we'll see how this really plays out. But so far, I've been really enjoying Raw tonight. And obviously, I know this is the third time I've done it by myself because and obviously, like I said, Tyler, my buddy Tyler, been under the weather the last week and it kind of really threw a monkey wrench in a lot of things that we do. So yeah, so I want to make sure to pass that on to a lot of people. And the reason, kind of explain why Tyler's not here, especially this past week, and he made it clear on Twitter as well. Check out his Twitter, which is going to be in the link tree down below. He did clear the air about that, you know, just because, just see how it really plays out, or not say how it play out, but how, he hates, basically, he doesn't like, you know, missing like streams for that matter. And look, I don't blame him, and but because look, I've always said, and I took constant told him too. Look, I can hold this down for about a week until you get better. Um, so you don't already have to have too much issues with that, because a lot of people like what we do. Jesus Christ, it's been a long fucking day. I'll tell you that much. Other than um doing a lot of promoting for my new gaming streams, coming out with the original Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection dropping on March 17th. You're gonna see a lot. You're gonna see a lot of gameplay series. Probably, I want to say about an hour and a half worth of gameplay. Depending on the modes. Like I said, it's gonna be with all game modes. Depending on with the when the Battlefront Classic Collection drops. Because I legitimately do think I really am going to be excited because, look, and to be fair, I do have the actual game itself on my but yeah. Try to look at my phone. One, obviously with the two from Grayson Waller after that rolling flatliner, and now it's a sitting side headlock from Grayson Waller locked onto Cody Rhodes. Ooh! Nice little kick to the midsection after eating a chop. Nice little roll through by Cody off the ropes and into a leaping forearm. Nobody home from Waller. Nice little power slam. And Cody and the disaster kick. Cover 1, 2, no. Just a Waller at 2. And Austin Theory try to get involved. Oh, Waller with a right. Kind of drops Cody. Irish whip into the ropes, ducks the clothesline, and to the Tope Suicide takes out Austin Theory. Dude, she's won a lot of people over, especially with someone like Key. And Cody Rhodes picks up the win over Grayson Waller just to keep that. And it's not even 11 o'clock yet. What the fuck? That's the crazy part. Huh. So Cody's just looking around. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, Paul Heyman. Cody got the chair. Hmm. Okay, this is getting interesting now. Still, probably one of the greatest talkers on the mic. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it with Paul Heyman. No, not really. Out of your mouth. Okay. Oh, voice cracking. So interesting. I'll say. Or else what? That's what Cody's going to say. Heyman. Yep, called it. me. Oh. And Cody Rhodes kind of fighting off, I guess you could say, his personal security. And Crossroads under Heyman's personal security. Okay. Man, talk about a whole turnaround from the first time when they actually started the story. It's like, there's an old all about my dad and all this nonsense. But, my friends, that is how Raw really goes off the air. And Cody, okay, so we're still got another minute of ass whooping from Cody Rhodes with this chair. And one security goes, out you go in the other. And that. So, a quick preview of what's to come at WrestleMania 40. And The Rock returns Friday night on SmackDown. And that, my friends, is how the Raw Monday Night Raw comes to a close. Appreciate anyone who's actually has hung out with me for Raw. And obviously, I know Tyler wanted to be here. Obviously, him being on the weather really kind of hindered that. So, like I promised him, to hold it down for a bit. So that being said, if you guys need to make sure to like, subscribe, make sure you turn on that notification bell for all post notifications, whether it's live streams like these or any new videos or gaming streams. Oh, and one more thing too. I got my own second channel coming that is give a quick shout out to Jake, who I told him I'm gonna borrow this idea. For all Phillies coverage and shit like that. So if you guys like, especially for Philly fans out there, I'll definitely will do a second channel called Philly Syndicate. So all things, Phillies news, rumors, that sort of thing, um, and stuff like that. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So besides that, have a good night, guys.